Alright, welcome back. We are back. We are playing more Terraria. We are playing as Belana Torres, the half-human, half um, Klingon chief engineer of Voyager, USS Voyager, and she has been marooned on this god-forsaken rock where there appears to be some sort of energy field that's keeping everyone from permanently dying. There's this alien up here, Xylar, who has been helping her strangely to survive, showing her the ropes, you might say. But both Xylar and Belana have now died and been brought back to life by some mysterious force. And Belana is very curious to find out exactly how that is possible. Oh, you know what? We should have a rope for this first part so that zombies don't jump up into the base. Fantastic. Belana is like looking through her survival manual, and it says right there on page 17, if you're building a super deep hole to gather resources from underground on an alien world, you need to make sure that you don't build a convenient staircase for monsters to come back into your base with you and kill you. So what you need to do is build a rope, because monsters cannot climb ropes. They can climb ladders and they can jump up platforms, but they cannot climb ropes. So that's what you gotta do. And so she's remembering, like, this is the part of the academy that she was actually really good at. She was very good at all of the practical stuff. And so Belana is pretty confident that she will do well in her quest to maybe not die so many times, because she suspects that this resurrection energy field is actually probably pretty bad. She's trying to come up with some sort of working theory to explain why, what's the connection, if there is one, between the resurrection field and the presence of all of the zombies, because that seems like a convenient, well, a suspicious combination of facts. Let's say that. Yeah. So she's also she's determined to get to the bottom of whatever is going on with the energy field, and similarly she's very determined to get to the bottom of this world, because she knows that the denser and in some cases more valuable minerals will naturally be found further down in the ground, because of well, that's just elementary xenogeology. She got like an A+ on that exam in the academy, so she's pretty certain that that she's right about this theory. Fantastic. So she's going to dig deeper and try to find these more valuable minerals and take advantage of those. There's some tin here. Tin is particularly weak, flimsy metal, so she's certain that it's useful for something, but it's certainly not going to bring her Batleth back anytime soon. And rather than crying about it like a human might, she's just going to accept the fact that she will not have her Batleth, and she's going to move on. Alright. She's like thinking about the engines that she's going to build. She's like planning out what kind of spaceship she wants to make. The Maki ships were a little bit more agile, maybe a little bit less excessive. So she prefers that light, agile design. So she's thinking the fewer bells and whistles, perhaps the better. Similar to a Klingon bird of prey. It doesn't have any features that it does not absolutely need in order to destroy their enemies. And that is her plan right now. She wants to find out who messed with the USS Voyager, and she wants to destroy those people and get revenge on them. Fantastic. She's just like deftly placing wood platforms underneath her own feet at exactly the right, at sometimes exactly the right height, and descending into this cavern, knowing that it contains the minerals that she requires in order to build this ship that she wants to make. Fantastic. Ah, we just went quite a long ways. But look at that. Without even thinking, all of those platforms are in exactly the right place. She truly deserves the title of Chief Engineer, and she knows it. She does not have to reassure herself in the slightest. Alright. So, this is some more iron. We can mine that. What do we use iron for? We can build... it's good as an alloy. We can make some steel. Actually, she could probably make a pretty good weapon out of iron. So that's probably one of the very first things she's going to do, just because she definitely wants to be able to avoid dying at all costs. Fantastic. So we're just going to keep going. There's an alien slime monster over there. It doesn't seem to be aggressive. In fact, it seems to be kind of stuck. And B'Elanna, I mean, she doesn't run away from a fight, but she also knows when she's won, and doesn't feel the need to be excessively cruel to creatures that pose no threat. So she's not going to kill that slime. She actually would think that it would be quite cowardly to kill that slime, because it cannot defend itself. It would not be an honorable fight. So she's just going to leave it be and continue digging down into the world. We're digging past like a little lake thing, so all this water is just like completely soggy and like there's just mud everywhere. She's been completely submerged in water. Her standard issue Starfleet uniform is just completely soiled, just covered in mud. It's really an unfortunate situation. But she never really, well, in the end, she never really approved of Starfleet Academy's uniforms anyway. So she's kind of actually glad that she no longer has to wear the uniform. Fantastic. In fact, she's looking for any opportunity that she can to wear any uniform other than this. Perfect. Okay. So she's found a good amount of stuff down here. There's all these pots underground in the caves. It's not clear why all these pots are here. Who made them? She's wondering. Why did they leave these pots? Whatever culture made these pots, maybe, like, what's the benefit? What's the benefit of leaving these pots down here? Are these, like, valuable family heirlooms or something? She's wondering. Because if they are family heirlooms, then I think B'Elanna is feeling a little bit of conflict between her human side and her Klingon side, because of course the human side is all like, don't touch the remains of the dead, that's disrespectful, and the Klingon side is like, they died in honor, their stuff belongs to everyone, let the strongest one have it. So she's not completely certain how to feel about looting the probably urns of dead people, but at the moment she's not letting it bother her too much, because of course we need it. We need this stuff. So she's just going to pull no punches. She's going to break every single urn she finds and take all of the golds and all of the things that she needs, because that is the practical solution. Fantastic. Okay. We're running into a slight issue where it seems like there's water underneath us, and for the first time since crash landing on this alien world, B'Elanna Torres does not have any information from the Starfleet Academy survival training to help her with this predicament. Although it seems to have resolved itself, since digging into another cavern seems to have diverted the water, and it's just flowing away at this point. We don't even need to worry. It literally doesn't matter. Great. So she can just like tick that off. The reason it was not in the Starfleet Academy Emergency Survival Guide is because it is a situation that resolves itself. That's right. When you are in a super deep mine shaft, digging straight down like a madman, and you fall into a body of water, you literally have nothing to worry about, because the situation will just resolve itself, and you will not have to worry at all. Perfect. Alright. Evidence suggests that that is true, therefore it is true. Fantastic. Spoken like a true scientist. Alright. We need to make sure that we're always maintaining the perfectly spaced platform network. B'Elanna knows that she has a limited amount of time. She's trying to be as efficient as possible. She's trying to get down to the bottom of the world as quickly as possible. And she knows that the more she conserves her resources, the better of a time she's going to have. So she wants to make sure to place her platforms at the right spacing, so that she doesn't have to cut down more trees and potentially disrupt the native environment more than is necessary. She's not actually one for caring about the environment. She just knows that if she disrespects the environment, bad things will occur. So it's more like a self-preservation thing than an actually caring about nature thing. But it has the same effect as caring about nature, because she respects the fact that nature will fight back, and in some cases can win. You cannot fight an entire ecosystem unless you have a spaceship, because then you can just bomb the planet from outer space, which is potentially what she's going to do the moment she gets off of this rock. Perfect. Oh, what is that? It's a strange plant. It's not a species that she's familiar with. It doesn't have much of a smell. It does have a very interesting appearance, though. It's like a bright green teal color, actually, and it just seems like it's out of place. It seems weirdly out of place. So B'Elanna picks it up with the intention of maybe doing some science on it and extracting some useful like chemicals, perhaps. She hears the sound of some sort of monster. It's a giant worm. She knows that giant worms can only travel through a medium, and they cannot travel through air as a medium because it is not dense enough. It is a worm, not a bird, so she knows that in order to stop the worm, all she has to do is place a medium other than solid rock between her and it, which is exactly what she did. She placed air, and the air served as a medium that the worm could not travel through. And, you know, bish bash bosh, Bob's your uncle. It worked like a charm, and she did not have to die to the worm. Fantastic. This may be an alien world, but B'Elanna still understands that logic does still apply, science does still work, and her wits will actually get her out of this mess. Fantastic. So she's continuing to dig down into the deep parts of the world, and with her scientific sense of of investigative prowess, she determines that there is a blue slime on the other side of this solid wall. Just with her own 5 senses. It's like she can just hear the jiggling of the slime monster, and she can feel the vibrations in the wall, and just knows that there is an alien slime monster on the other side of this wall. Okay, perfect. So also using her amazing sense of scientific reasoning, she just places some blocks on the other side of this solid wall without actually being able to reach her hand through. It does weird her out a little bit that she's able to do that, because that was not something that she was able to do previously. But she does it anyway, and it feels kind of right that she's able to do that. So let's just... she's just thinking that maybe she should not question that too much, because this is already a very strange place. There's some sort of energy field on this world, and there's zombies, and people are being brought back from the dead, which is very strange to begin with. So the fact that there is a strange ability for her to reach her limbs through solid walls without actually doing so, and without actually being able to reach her limbs through solid walls, she also realizes that she should maybe stop constructing sentences with such elaborate and unnecessarily elaborate grammatical structures, because halfway through saying what she's saying, she's going to forget where the sentence began, and therefore how to end it properly. So in the future, Bellana Torres, in her inner monologue, will be more careful to pay attention to where her sentences start and begin and end. Fantastic. Alright, so on page 5 of the Starfleet Academy Survival Guide, it says that if you are digging a mineshaft straight down for some reason, and you find yourself digging straight into a pool of water, there is one case where they give you some advice. They state that if you fall into a small amount of water... Well, no, they don't say anything about falling into a small amount of water. We established this already. But if you fall into a lake and you are determined to get through, you just have to build some sort of tunnel network straight through the water, and like, not feel any shame in continuously extending that straight down through the water, even though that is very inefficient. So if you find yourself in a situation where you're tunneling down into the water, into like a lake, an underground lake, you should just continue doing that, because there's literally no way you could have foreseen that this lake was going to be here, and it is the most honorable decision, most honorable choice, the most honorable way forward is to just keep going, because once you're finished, it's going to look super cool. And we all know the Starfleet Academy is very focused, hyper-focused, you might say, on looking cool. So that's the whole point of this section on page 5 of the Starfleet Academy Survival Guide. Fantastic. It also specifies specifically that you should place your platforms while you're digging, so that you can actually get out and survive. Fantastic. So Bellana is happily looking back into her mind. She's remembering her lessons at Starfleet, and she's thinking, you know what? Maybe joining the Maquis was a bit of an overreaction. Maybe I do actually like Starfleet, because the knowledge that I gained at the Starfleet Academy is coming in real handy right now as I find myself on a strange alien world with no means of escape, and also a very limited survival capability. Oh my goodness. B'Elanna almost just drowned horribly in this super tall pit of water that she has created for herself. But it's okay, because we've reached the bottom of the lake, and now it is possible to follow up. There's a little follow-up figure on page 5 that shows how to make an airlock so that you can actually breathe by seemingly violating the laws of physics by creating a pocket of air where in fact there was no air before. The reason this is possible, of course, is partially due to the energy field and partially due to the way that matter works in this area. It's not just that there's air there. There's actually, it's like an no. The air is like, there's some of these minerals have air in them, and when you break rocks, it can produce air. So you just have to be aware of the fact that you have the ability to produce air by breaking certain rocks, because it's like part of their crystal structure. There's like an oxygen bound to some of the crystal lattices. So by breaking it apart in a very specific way, you can actually extract the oxygen from the Breve lattice, and you can release it into the environment, and that creates breathable air. And it only happens on this planet because of the specific way in which the minerals here formed. Fantastic. Okay. We're just mining out all this stone here now so that we can lower the water level and maybe divert some of the water into this little side chamber. We're basically creating a reservoir that will hold all of the water that we just dug through, so that we don't have to worry about that any longer. Fantastic. Isn't physics great? B'Elanna is like so proud of all of the knowledge that she gained about engineering and science, because it is allowing her to survive in this horrible situation. Fantastic. So, we're just going to continue to do that. We have no fear. We know that if we die, we'll just come back. But maybe it's a little bit like, what was that movie? Total Recall? I think it was Total Recall, where they discover... No, it wasn't that. It was something else. There was a movie that B'Elanna Torres remembers watching with Tom Paris because he's like bizarrely obsessed with ancient Earth culture. And so on a movie night one night, the two of them were watching this movie. And the whole point of it was that every time you die, you can be brought back to life. But you come back with like a previously saved version of yourself. So like they upload your brain into a machine, and then when you die, they can resurrect you by creating a new body for you and implanting that body with your previously stored memories. So you forget everything that happened after you saved your brain, but like you become less of a human as a result. Like you gain like physical defects that identify you as someone who's been like revived multiple times. Yeah, it's pretty scary. Tom was really into it, but B'Elanna wasn't really paying attention, which is why she can't remember the details. Perfect. She's now thinking that maybe she should have paid more attention to Tom and his completely inane, pointless human facts that he would just spout out at her all the time. Perfect. Perfect. Yes. So, oh no. With our telepathy given to us by the energy field, we can see that Xylar was torn in half by a zombie, which is probably a pretty traumatic event, considering that that zombie may have been like a former family member or like neighbor or something, assuming her theory about the zombies is correct. So yeah, that the image, like how does she feel about it? She's not sorry for Xylar, like she doesn't really feel sorry for people, but she does not want that to happen to her, and so when she sees zombies now in the future, she will be extra vigilant to try to ensure that she is not ripped apart by zombies, because now she knows for a fact that it is a possibility. You can, in fact, be torn apart by zombies, and so that is a fate that she wants to avoid. Perfect. Okay. We're just creating another airlock here by carefully extracting the oxygens from the breve lattice of the minerals that we're mining down here. Perfect. Makes perfect sense. Yep. Makes perfect sense. There's one more piece of tin up there that B'Elanna wants to harvest. Perfect. Okay. Maybe it's... There's still a lot of water. There's still a lot. B'Elanna is thinking maybe this is a task that was bigger than she originally anticipated, but in no way does that mean that she should stop or that she cannot do it. Of course, she can do anything because she is B'Elanna Torres. So there's that for you. Just think about that. Why don't you? Perfect. So she's super determined to continue and make progress and not drown. Excellent. Yes. She's actually thinking that she may be generating extra volume of water in this way, because she's looking up at this column of water and looking at how tall it is and calculating the area of that thing by eye. It does not seem to be equivalent to the amount of area that she has created down here. And so it appears that she has generated water out of thin air, which would make sense since we're able to generate air out of thin air. We're able to generate air out of solid rock, and then we're able to generate water out of thin air. Truly, this is a bizarre world that we probably want to get off of as quickly as possible. Okay, perfect. Alright. So, as B'Elanna contemplates this, she builds a little alcove for herself to be able to breathe. She's like almost completely submerged in water, just head in a claustrophobic hole with a single torch, burning up what little oxygen she has. And she's just having a little think, trying to process all of the things that she has seen, all of the things that she has experienced, and all the weird physics and science going on. And she's going to try to come up with a plan. And we'll be back on the next one. Thank you.